Robert.
Arne.
I'm very happy to see you here in our little studio. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Now, we will talk a little bit about your newest Fritztrainer, which is, as far as I understand, for the biggest majority of all chess players, which are rated between...
Yeah, for the lower segment, I would say it's about calculation training for those who are basically new to the game, who would like to improve their tactical skills.
So when we put it into a rating, I would say 1,000 to 1,500?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And this is actually, if I understood correctly, it is the absolute majority of almost every chess player, because if you're starting to play chess, you just barely know the rules, you know how the pieces are moving, and then at one point you get into it, you get the interest, you have some success by winning some games, and then you are in this level between, starting at 1,000 and upwards. So do you remember how was the time for you? Did it like pass like this, or was this a time where you were a bit longer in this area of rating?
No, actually I was not for a long time in that area. It's I learned the rules from my father, and it was in the summer when I was like 7 or 8, I think it was 7 years old, and then I attended an after school course. And I really liked solving these little puzzles, where exactly the type of puzzles which I'm covering in my
Nice.
DVD. I learned it back then, and I really enjoyed it, and it's very useful for everyone at every level. All the strong players they started at that point, and it's about recognizing these patterns. And fortunately, I didn't stay too long in that segment.
That is also obviously, if I think back at my time, so I'm roughly 1900 now. It also passed for me quite quickly because I was constantly doing those tactical parts, which are, I have to admit, the most fun. It's just the thing which I enjoyed so much, and then from 1400, I went to 1800 very quickly, I have to say. Now, what to take care of the most except tactical patterns?
Well, once you learn the rules, I think the next step is to be comfortable with recognizing these tactical patterns. So that's what I really focus on in this DVD. Well, after that, if you understand a bit more, you start to learn more about strategies, about how to handle king safety. The golden rules in the opening need to be applied more carefully. And later on, we will start thinking about more positional aspects of the game, like pawn structures, when is a bishop good, when a knight is better. I think that comes next. But really, the most important thing is to master these tactical ideas, patterns in general. Yeah.
If I may say so, you're a master coach. So you've not only done loads of Fritztrainers, you are a very successful coach. I also point out Eline Roebers very often, who is now, she's a
international master.
International master, yes.
Yeah.
You're training or coaching her since a while. Did you ever have, or do you sometimes have students which are super new to the game and just starting to? And
well, basically, when I started with her, she knew the basic rules.
Wow.
And she knew a bit of these kind of tactics, which I'm covering in the DVD. But basically, the next step, when I met her, she was around that point, let's say.
Funny.
So I basically helped her to grow to the player she is now.
When I look at your Fritztrainers, one thing I really appreciate is how direct and how clear you are with your instructions about what you're teaching. And I also noticed this with our show, which is The Underdog, which is where there's a big upset from a lower rated player against a stronger player. We started with Josefina Heinemann against Hikaru Nakamura. Can you give one or two advices for players in the lower segment, say 1,000 to 1,500, if they face 1,800 or 1,900 or even stronger person, how to play? What are the 3 golden rules to think of?
Well, believe in yourself. Maybe it starts with that. Like a lot of people, they see the pairings and they think, I'm going to play against a higher rated player, 200 or 300 points more. like a loss is acceptable, but I think that's already the wrong attitude.
I have to already interrupt you because it couldn't be more correct what you're just saying, because I went into games quite often against stronger players and I already gave up before I even started the game, and that stopped me from everything.
Yeah, that's one thing, how to basically start before the game.
Yeah.
Whenever you're playing, it can always be that you get surprised by a specific move or specific plan of your opponent, and don't automatically trust that the higher rated player is always correct. Just use your own brain and try to be objective. And of course, if you can mix that with a bit of confidence, I think you have overcome already the most difficult part, to deal with higher rated players. But in the end, okay, they're stronger for a reason. So there's always a chance that you will not be as successful. But first, mainly look at yourself, not at the opponent.
That's good advice. Yeah. When it comes down to, we're not talking about this specifically now, but I'm just curious, when it comes down to openings, do you give like any advice? You should always try to start with these openings, or do you go like, listen, center control, keep your king safe till you get the minor pieces out?
That's actually a very good question, because of course I always try to look at what kind of type of play my student is comfortable with. But there are definitely certain openings I would not recommend to people, even though they are maybe played at the highest level. For instance, the Berlin defense is a great opening for the grandmaster level, but I don't see any point in it advising it, recommending it to my own students.
All right.
When they're at, let's say, the lower segment, like between 1,000 and 1,500. In general, I think it makes sense to play open games to get active piece play, and then you better become familiar with the relative value of pieces. You get more familiar with it in these kind of positions than in kind of locked positions with more maneuvering, which is something. Well, basically, when I recommend my young students, like young kids, for instance, the Caro-Kann opening is really popular. But I say to them, it's a really good opening. I've played it myself hundreds of times. But I would not recommend it to the young kids. I would rather see them play a Sicilian with sharper game. When they're getting older, they still need an opening to play at a later age.
Interesting.
So it depends on what you're kind of expecting. If you're a really young talent, I would recommend something different than when you're an adult. Then I will try to look more at specific skills, kind of what kind of joy you get from playing specific openings.
Nice. Talking about openings or the chess pieces, you have brought an example. Let's go for it. What have you prepared for us?
Yeah, so I take one position from my calculation DVD.
Yes, please.
It's white to play, and people at home, they can look themselves what they think it's the best continuation here.
Excellent. Okay.
There are different topics I cover in the DVD. It's ranging from basic tactical ideas to more advanced. So, for instance, in the DVD, I start with double attacks, with discovered attacks, pins, skewers, etc. This kind of X-ray attack. It's all there. Later on, we get more advanced type of tactics when you need to make one or two additional moves in order to set up the tactic itself.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So for you at home, if you are in this level, which we are talking about the whole time, take a closer look, take it as an exercise. And your Fritztrainer is available by now anyway. So you know what to do, right? You know what to do. Good. So let me make a wild guess, but it looks quite obvious. But then again, I'm scared that it is too obvious and this is a trap.
Yes, of course. Well, in the very beginning, we have some examples where it's really obvious. But in order to increase the difficulty, there's usually also an answer which is not entirely correct.
All right.
So, well, what are you thinking about, Arne?
So it looks to me as if I give a check here, the king has to move up and I can easily get this knight here. But what are the consequences? Is there something else threatening? I do not see it, to be honest. Yeah, so this is my guess.
Yeah, you got it right. The correct move here is Queen E8 check. The only move is king g7, and then you can take the knight on b5, which was an unprotected piece. That's something I always recommend my students to look after. Like, just be sure what is vulnerable. Look at the king, look at the unprotected piece. In this case, white is just a piece up.
Yeah, it's exactly what I did. I looked at the king, which is vulnerable, and this is an unprotected piece too. This is an unprotected piece, not really because there's the knight, but
exactly.
yeah.
That was the main difference, and that was the kind of second solution. People think that rook is also vulnerable. They look at this move queen g3, which is also check.
I didn't even spot that. Yeah. Okay.
And well, if after the king moves, you cannot take the rook because the rook will be captured by the knight.
Excellent. Yes. Nice one. All right.
So that was that's the kind of trick you may expect.
Do you have another one?
I have another one.
Yes, please.
Shall I increase the level
yes,
a bit?
let's increase the level by a couple of 100 points.
Yeah, let's do that. This is definitely much harder, but I think it's a challenging one, so that's good.
Yeah, take a look, pause the video if you want to. This is just a little exercise for you. I already thought I found the solution, but it was too easy, and I would have fallen into some mild trap here. Now, yeah, we have to do something different here. What would that be? Yeah, this is quite nice here.
So what were your first thoughts?
So my first thought is, of course, so this is the row which is blocked. Now, furthermore, the king also cannot get out here. So this leads to the conclusion, if I get the knight to, it's h5, right?
h5, right? Yeah.
This would be a checkmate. But of course, there is the queen, which will just take away this.
So this is actually a very important theme on the DVD. That it's also about trying to set up tactics, and very often you have to eliminate the defender. And this can be done in different ways. Like you can exchange the defender, or you can deflect the defender.
Yeah, this is really nice, as high level here. So yeah, and following up to this, there is exactly this what you just mentioned, stopping this queen from ever being able to get here. So how do you do this? There's a couple of options which you can think of. Maybe the rook can go here, but then of course this line is open again, so it doesn't help anything at all. And after all, it doesn't help so or so, because yeah, we need this rook. The queen cannot go here. It has to keep this spot there. So what else is there? It's almost like it is study. Every piece has its meaning. So
of course, yeah.
So this bishop will move. And now, yeah, and if I would be in this lower niveau, I would think like, but that doesn't make sense for me. Where could this ever go? For example, my smaller brother just started to learn how to play chess. He wouldn't even understand this idea of the deflection at the moment. But I think, of course, the bishop goes here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very nice. It's a beautiful motive, interference motive. Like the fifth rank will be blocked, so the queen no longer covers that square. And to show it, after bishop takes f5, we have knight h5 with checkmate.
Beautiful, yeah. So what else would you have to do here as black? Probably h5. No, it's also difficult.
h6 is still the
h6 is the last
is
resort. Yeah.
And that's actually also something. Actually, what I do in the interactive
it continues,
format.
Actually, yeah, I see
it even continues. That's the nice thing. So don't think that you have found it that easily. The line continues, but what do you think? What is the way to?
Well, I still, unfortunately, I see a mate for white here, because we just continue with the same plan we insisted on playing first. We get the knight here with the check.
Yeah.
So yes. The king now has this last square available because the pawn moved forward. So, but the unfortunate truth is that if we go to this square,
H7,
then we can give another check here with the knight.
That's possible.
Oh gosh, there's something better, right?
Actually, it's not a bad move, but there's no need in capturing the pawn.
It is actually I thought like a sacrifice would be but. We just get the rook here, right?
Right, very nice. And that's also the tricky part. Very often you get the right idea very quickly, but there are different move orders.
Oh gosh,
And,
I should watch your DVD.
yeah. Finally,
It's time for me.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, no, this is great because the knight cannot take the rook because of the pin. The king cannot go anywhere else apart from taking the rook. This is this deflection motive. As
Once
now the
again,
queen
yeah.
can come into h6 with check. King goes here, and now you can even choose how to deliver mate, either queen g7
Or with style.
or in style with knight takes f6.
So, yeah, wonderful. I mean, Robert, this was really, really interesting, and I'm looking forward for many, many more Fritztrainers. And yeah, this one, put it on the list. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Arne.